Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you all so much. It's very late in the day. I know there was lots of free drinks last night. We're all tired, so I really appreciate so many of you turning out to the inaugural World Passenger Awards 2022. My name is Pete Daykin. I am CEO of Wordnerds, the text analytics platform, and Helen Precious is our head of business development. And it's our pleasure to welcome you to these awards. It's pretty easy to be cynical at the moment. Political turmoil, all kinds of economic chaos, a World Cup in December, whatever next. When you're from the UK, as we are, we're on to our 47th Prime Minister in about 3 weeks. Sometimes it feels like the whole world is going to hell in a handcart. And we know that when it comes to passenger feedback and support, you tend to hear from those you inconvenience more often than from those that you help. And it's totally natural to be louder in complaint than in praise. And we know how seriously the rail industry in particular takes its feedback, its negative feedback. But every day across the world, there are all kinds of really positive things that are happening. There are thousands of people who are helped in large ways and small ways by their transport providers, and they want to let people know about it. We wanted the World Passenger Awards to be a celebration of the positive things that are happening in the industry, and the one day a year when we can maybe overlook the negative stuff for a few minutes and concentrate on some of the very many positive things that are happening. Because what you do affects people's lives day to day, from making rail more affordable and accessible to the incredible work of your staff, the comfort and food that you provide every day, and to big things like the fight against climate change. People see what you're doing and they talk about it. There are many different national surveys around the world, and unfortunately we don't always have access to them as data providers. But also there's no standardized way that people get and share feedback from their passengers. As a result, in looking at designing these awards, we looked for a way of getting data from as many people as possible and found, whilst there was no perfect solution, the obvious place, at least until Elon Musk drives it into the ground, which he seems intent on doing at the moment, is Twitter. So we've used Twitter data as the resource that covers most of the train operating companies in the world, but clearly not all of them. And the results that you see from the data that we chewed covers 134 train operating companies from over 40 countries, which has brought in excess of 1 million tweets over the course of going back 6 months. Clearly, that's not all of the data that's out there. So if every train operating company in the world would like to sign up to the Wordnerds platform, we can put that right for next year, if that's okay. So what did we do? How did we decide who was a winner of an award? You can see on the screen behind me, there was a big debate in the Wordnerds office about how we do this. Obviously, if we look at just the number of positive comments, the large organizations are massively favored. Similarly, if we just look at the proportion of positive comments, then that favors smaller providers. In the end, in true awards style, we came up with a complex algorithm involving a number of different factors, including overall sentiment, the number of positive comments, the proportion that appears in each category, and we also tried to exclude people for whom there was a low sentiment score in one of the categories. So what we've tried to go for, in short, is consistency. You had to score well in all of the subcategories in your category to get an award, but also specificity. If you did something really good in that area, then you had a much higher chance to do it. Again, it's probably not perfect, but this is a starting point, and we will take it as a learning experience. And in that spirit, any good award ceremony worth its salt is very clear about its own limitations. Before we get on to the winners, we would like to be crystal clear about some of the limitations that we think that we've experienced in this. What you will see aren't necessarily the best train operating companies winning awards, just the ones that were responded to most positively in the data that we saw. Clearly, Twitter is not a universal medium. Some countries have very, very active user bases, some companies don't. And whether or not you're putting something positive about a rail provider can be as much a cultural distinction as anything else. And clearly, some people who are effusive in their praise in their country are at a massive advantage, and other people with different cultural expectations are at a disadvantage. So that's not perfect either. And finally, we never want to oversell Wordnerds' capabilities. Words are complex. They change their meaning all the time. Young people use them very differently to older people, and there are all kinds of wonderful regional variations. Also, human beings are pretty mad most of the time, and particularly on social media. So there is always some level of unexpected noise. There's always some level of misclassification. We've had a good look at the data, and we're happy that it's by and large extremely accurate. But we don't want to pretend that there's not some degree of noise in there. So if you will indulge us in those limitations, then let's get on to the awards themselves. So this year, with the support of the Department of Transport in the UK, Wordnerds have developed the biggest AI model of train-trained data. What do we mean by that? Data specifically trained in the rail industry. And then working with our very many train operating company clients, we've built out submodels of that in 3 main areas. So operational categories like catering, tickets, delays, customer journey analysis, so trip planning before you get to the station, at the station, on-train experience, final mile, et cetera, and then passenger segmentation. There is no user journey in rail. There are multiple user journeys. A deaf person accessing a train network accesses it in a completely different way to a neurodiverse person, to a person in a wheelchair, et cetera, et cetera. And we have AI models trained on specific data for all of these and many, many more. Finally, before we get on to the winners, there are numerous awards that is decided on and delivered by the industry. Ultimately, though, train networks exist for the benefit of their passengers. And in putting together these awards, we wanted to be really clear that we wanted to put the passengers right at the heart of this. And we wanted this award to be decided by them, decided by their data. And it wanted to be about what they thought. We've therefore designed them and designed the award categories to reflect the different stages of the passenger journey, from booking a ticket all the way through to getting local transport on the final mile and getting us home at the end. As a result, there are 6 awards: the Before We Travel Award, the At the Station Award, the Onboard Award, the Access Award, the BestMetro Award, final mile, and the overall Best Operator, which we'll come on to at the end. So without further ado, let's get on to see who's won. Helen.
Great, hi everyone. So first category is the Before We Travel Award, and the finalists in this category were CD for their affordable reservations and an adorable app. Lumo for providing a low-cost option and attracting people away from flying. Rodalies Catalunya in Spain for the real-time success of their passenger information on their passenger app. SBB from Switzerland for the easy-to-use and really chic SBB app. Southern Railway in India for extending weekly special fees to cover new routes, and Trenitalia for flexible, affordable interrail options. So the things that we looked at within this category were website and app experience, ticketing, price fairness, and reservations generally. And the winner is SBB. So highest proportionate tweets. Thank you. Highest proportionate tweets. Yes, please do come up. We've got some incredibly small awards, which looked much bigger when I ordered them on the internet. So congratulations.
Thank you very
Very
much.
well done.
Thank you very much.
Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
There's a lid for it as well. Of course. This is the first one, guys.
I'd like to have it here.
Sure.
Excuse us for a second, just talk amongst yourselves.
Yeah. Okay. Look happy. Yeah, great. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
There's a lid for that as well.
very much.
Thank you.
Well done again. Great. Okay, the second award category is the At the Station Awards. Finalists in this category were Amtrak, USA, CD, Czech Republic. I'm not going to try and pronounce the Polish railway that is at the bottom there. I don't want to offend them or anybody else. The Lumo in the UK, SJ in Sweden, and V-Line Australia. Obviously, in this award, we looked at catering on the platform, a bunch of information about staff, the ability to deliver people to the right place at the right time, and often what happens when things go wrong. And the winner of the At the Station Awards 2022 was Lumo. You're getting the hang of this now, aren't you? I can tell. It's great. So I don't think we've got anybody from Lumo here today, unfortunately. So happily, Helen's internet accident of buying really small awards means that it's going to save us a load on postage when we send it to them later in the week, which is a wonderful thing. But Lumo is obviously the UK's newest train brand, and their extra mile customer service came through very clearly in the data. They not only helped out Lumo customers, but have developed a reputation very quickly for helping everybody else's customers as well and going above and beyond what's expected of them as a train operating company. More than anything, though, they took time to celebrate their first birthday, turning up to stations with cakes to give out to passengers of all train networks, and turning train stations into event spaces. People have amazing associations with train stations. They're often places where we have said hello and goodbye to loved ones, and places that have a deep psychological significance to us. And they've helped make train stations really special in 2022, and we were delighted to award them this year's award. Thank you. Helen.
Thank you. So the award for Onboard services covered everything from catering, cleanliness, support from staff whilst on the train. The finalists were Amtrak, CD, DB Regio, Great Western Rail, LNER, Northern Rail, RegioJet, and Transport for Wales. It's probably the fiercest fought category in many ways. And the winner is Amtrak. Have we got anyone from Amtrak in the room? Be brave, come on up.
Great. Go on, I'll let you.
Thank you. Well done, guys. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Exceptional customer service. Well done. I'll let you take that
Hey,
one.
Jacob, congratulations. You can come around the other side.
All right.
Okay, the happy moment. Yes.
Well done, guys.
It's getting slicker.
Safe trip back. Okay, so the BestMetro award was technically the closest of all of our awards, with multiple providers ending up with extremely similar scores, and it was definitely the hardest one for us to find a winner in. Shortlisted for the final were BVG Berlin, Edinburgh Trams in Scotland, HTM Den Haag, Sound Transit Seattle, STIB Brussels, and Wiener Linien in Vienna. And the winner of Best Metro 2022 goes to Sound Transit in Seattle. Oh, it's great when people are in the room. We had no idea who was going to be turning up to this when we were doing it. And we've been really nervous about this for quite some time, so thank you for being here. While you're coming up, let me just say, so shout out in this award category to STIB Brussels and Wiener Linien in particular, but Sound Transit edged it thanks to their investment, integration, and the genuine affection from the people of Seattle for the service. Across all of the local rail transport, we saw a huge amount of positivity who felt that they were making a massive difference to their lives and also to their environmental impact in a country that is better known for use of the motor car. So congratulations. We're getting further back every time, aren't we? Come on. Disappear out the back of the set.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Thank you. Marvelous.
Well done. Safe trip back.
Well done. So the Access Award, it's an area that Wordnerds have done quite a bit of work in, and an area that we're particularly passionate about, essentially for looking after passengers where obviously with diverse accessibility needs were required. The finalists in this category were Amtrak, Indian Railways, Irish Rail, Lumo, and ScotRail. And the winner of this award is ScotRail. Do we have anyone in the room from ScotRail? Anyone? I'm seeing some people move, but perhaps not. So their passenger assistance scheme raised the most praise from passengers. They were the standout winner in this category. Staff interactions went above and beyond, particularly for neurodiverse passengers, and demonstrating accessibility within the team. They've just hired their first deaf apprentice as part of their apprenticeship scheme.
Great. So, the big one. All that's left now is working out the overall Best Operator 2022. To do so, we combined overall sentiment with positive comments, excellent across all the categories, and when we put it through our complex and bewildering algorithm, the top three in reverse order came up as follows. In third place, Indian Railway, who didn't quite get it to the summit of any one category, but performed extremely consistently across nearly all of them. In second place, Sound Transit, excellent result there. Again, really close in the Metro category, but their passenger feedback was definitely special. But the overall Best Operator in the World Passenger Awards 2022, I'm delighted to say, goes to Lumo. Yeah. Again, Lumo can't be here today, but we'll be getting in touch with them after the event. So, congratulations to everyone who appeared in the shortlist, and of course to all of our winners. If any of you out there for whom we have looked at your data would like to come and speak to us about how you did, Helen and I will be at stand 3 until Catriona and the Terrapin team kick us out later on this afternoon. And if you're already thinking about how you can improve your chances of winning next year, then we just want to leave you with a couple of closing thoughts that we've seen from the data this year. So some top tips that might help you while you're preparing for the future. So the first one is that your staff are really key to all of this. Within every single category and within every single train operating company, staff made a massive difference. Celebrate their successes, talk about them in your communications, and make sure that your customers get to know them. They really hold the key to performing well in the minds of your passengers. Secondly, guide customers to lower costs. Obviously, the cost of living crisis is biting internationally, and it's an issue that is definitely on the minds of all of your customers. So much so that they are out there talking on social media and on other channels to each other, giving each other tips on how they can save money. We've heard of some amazing some amazing things that train operating companies have done. We've heard from the €9 ticket in Germany this last few days, and continuing to think about how you can make rail travel more accessible is a hugely important part about what you do. Thirdly, consider neurodiversity. As Helen said, accessibility is a cause very close to our hearts at Wordnerds, and it's massively improving across the sector and across the world, we're delighted to say. But the talks that got the most love in the sector did so because they were the ones that took accessibility for neurodiverse people most seriously. More accessible information and well-trained staff were very much at the heart of that. And it's an area that affects neurodiverse people disproportionately. A lot of, particularly autistic people, really love the trains. And then, therefore, when something goes wrong with it, it has a disproportionate impact on them. Fourthly, remember you're dealing with humans. From openness and honesty on issues to personality in announcements on websites and in your apps, it's the people that really let their authentic voice come through and treat people, their passengers, as human beings that score the highest. And it's a great thing for us all to continue to think about. We often think of customers as groups, but actually thinking about them as individuals makes a huge difference. And finally, and almost most importantly, you guys are out there fighting the good fight and saving the world. At least that's how your customers are starting to see it. We've massively seen the conversation about environmental benefits of rail travel taking center stage in the past couple of years. As a discussion topic, it's growing like it's never grown before, and things have never been more important in that area than they are now. There's been a lot of talk these last few days about integration with personal transport, bicycles, other transport, final mile, mobility as a service, all of these great innovations you guys are looking at to make it easier for us to adopt more sustainable travel plans. And it's a hugely important part of what you do, and it's something that is becoming extremely appreciated by your passengers. So thank you. That's all we have time for. The only thing that remains for me to say is a big thank you to Terrapin, and particularly Catriona, for firstly giving us the space to do these awards, and of course the platform from which to celebrate some of the massive amounts of positivity in and around the rail industry. As we said, this is the first time we've ever done it. We are sure we've got it wrong in a load of different ways, and we would love to hear from you if you have any ideas about what we might do differently next time, how we might improve this, and hopefully make this a regular feature of this conference and the annual calendar in the rail industry and other passenger industries moving forward. Thank you so much for coming, and safe trip home, everybody.